Shay and I are out here surveying some property that we're very likely to end up buying. I worked my 3 jobs. I got my house almost paid off. I can get another loan, right? Let's see, we're at 2,500 feet in elevation. Property extends to that cliff and then goes back 500 vertical feet. Sorry, 500 horizontal feet, which means that it goes basically to the top of that hillside and then it goes way down over there. This is the old homestead cistern. They had an illegal rock quarry up in here. I'll show you some of that later. And then that's in the location of the old homestead cabin, the best we can tell. Log building. It's actually quite a bit bigger than our house. Unfortunately, it's also built on railroad ties, and it had a failing gutter, and the combination of the two has rotted out one corner of the logs. It's usable, but it'll take some work. And then there's the river. It's a beautiful color right now. And then there's the old Great Northern Railroad line. BNSF today. So we're gonna go and do some hiking and some exploring. I'd love to find a few minerals. I know there's no gold up here, but just a few minerals would be cool. Something the kid and I can go and look at. Lord knows I got enough rock, so we could build a rock house. Huh? That ought to keep the zombies out. This, if we built, is probably where we would tuck the house in. Up there on that ledge. Had to bring a big excavator in, pull a lot of this back. You know, find out what the hillside actually looks like. This would be a good spot because you're not going to get anything rolling off the hill and making it here. There's an extra ridge in front of you, so there will be nothing that could come kabumbling down here and nail the house. So that's nice. No one in the family has ever built in conditions like this before. Oh, old glove. It kind of depends on, this would get a lot of sun and it would be a nice sort of dug in daylight basement kind of structure. It all depends on where the actual hard rock begins. If the house were over in this area, we get a much better view. So yeah, and you got black water line that continues up the hill. I was told there was a spring up here, up at the top, but that the rock quarry did something to it. And I don't know what that means. I don't see how they could stop it. But just imagine if I could tap water. Does it? Imagine if I could tap water at 100 feet above us. One nice thing the property has, it has a brand new well the rock quarry put in. 188 feet. It's right down where I parked the truck. 188 feet. The head of the water comes up to about 40 feet, or about the level of the river. So I wouldn't need that water, but still, I think water is going to become an increasingly precious commodity, and if you had your own source, if nothing for irrigation. Yeah. Also, I think, Bud, that this cave has kind of been filled in. So, if an enterprising young man came and mucked it out a little bit, he might have himself quite, especially if he left these, these choke cherries? If he left these trees here, he might have himself quite the cave clubhouse.
Yes.
Oh.
So we could like get the rocks out, these rocks right here. Then we could like have, when we get this, we can have like a big clubhouse. clubhouse so we can walk around the cave and get out.
Yeah. We're probably too far above the water for the Native Americans to have come and used this cave. It's possible. I noticed there's some caves across the river.
Here's across the river.
Yeah. Someday we'll go explore. All right, Buster. Let's keep climbing. Let's keep climbing. So the cabin is right down there. We're maybe 500 feet directly above us. And got ourselves a little cliff action right here. And that goes down into a secluded pocket, which is also ours between the river. Well, we own all the way to the river, so we own the other side of the road. There's just nothing on the other side of the road right there. But this little pocket has got a little strip of old Highway 200 tucked away in there. And that really might have Indian stuff on it. This is what the gravel company did, and it's kind of a double-edged sword. On one hand, they made a heck of a mess, and it's like they cut roads all the way down to the bottom of this cliff face. This road goes all the way up around. These roads come up here. They go up that way onto that bench, up that way onto that bench, and up that way onto that bench. It's a little unsightly. On the other hand, there's no way I could have had access to any of this without their roads. So, yeah, why don't we step back, huh?
Yep. But if that tree is still alive, Dad, that would have been a big tree.
It would have.
Because it goes all the way down to there and still keeps going.
Y connected, upper set of roads, and then out there along the backside, down there would be the house. This is the gully the cliff was in, and there's the old Cross Ranch homestead. So yeah, it's kind of fascinating. The kid found these rocks, and I admit they look water worn, but I don't know why. I don't know why they would be any more or less water worn than the rest of these monsters.
And Daddy, I collected that sample, that water worn rock, okay, Dad?
Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See, and then split both ways. That one first?
Uh-huh.
Okay, we're gonna go do that. All right, here we are, further up the road Shay picked. Steep and flattens out as it goes between these two rock ledges. Once again, sort of a blocky, weather-worn appearance. It's kind of different. And
there's another road right there.
Yeah.
Another road right there.
You can tell the stuff the rock quarry moved because it's this brown-red color, and the dark gray is the natural surface. And I guess the this brown color, gray color is dime a dozen out here. This stuff is super hard. Lots of people use it for building houses and walls and stuff. And originally the value was in the moss lichen colored stuff. But my understanding is that up on top they found something different. We don't know what different means, but it was different enough that they pushed their boundaries. That's different. Speaking of different, they pushed their boundaries and mined about 40 acres off their claim, off their property. So, and again, this drops down between this valley.
You hold it.
Well,
That's a sample.
yeah, I think I'll set it right here for later.
Okay.
And later might be a million years.
No, Daddy. Maybe maybe when we come back down here, we'll pick up that rock and put it in your backpack, okay?
So, you know, you can see the striations, right, going down as these fault lines come through. And then, but you can also see the vertical ones. But this little area back up in here is 100% secluded. The only way to see what's around this corner is to hike around this corner. And our property, if we end up with it, would go to the top of that. So, goals someday. Ooh, I can see a hawk up there. And a rain cloud.
Large tree right there. 3 large trees over there.
Yep. So that is the canyon we just climbed up. And this is one of those hidden little gems on a property. We have a weeping wall. Oh, there's the hawk, who would be our neighbor. We have this weeping wall right through here. And you'll notice there's a bit of a bowl. And it's full of aspen trees. So that's a really good candidate for maybe finding some higher altitude water. Again, I do have a good well on the property, so I don't necessarily need that, but hey, altitude and water wheel, who knows what we could do with that, right?
Uh-huh. To grow trees.
So, now unfortunately, this is one of those sort of off-road trails. I don't know what they used. I assume it was big tracked excavator, but I don't see those tracks. It's almost like they used some sort of four-wheel drive, rubber tired excavator. But they went up and scraped over there and scraped over there, but you know, 10, 15, 20 years, those scars will disappear. And then they pulled a lot of stuff down right here and unfortunately filled this. And this is where we think the guy was saying that they buried the spring, which would be, yeah, a lot of rock. But can't be undone. It is what it is. I think Shay and I are going to go up along that. You can see there's a break right there, but we're not going up that today. There's another shelf ledge thing up here. So we're going to go this way and kind of come back around.
Daddy, look at this. Look what sound it makes when I hit this.
Yeah, it's hard rock, but this is really hard rock. Yeah, it sounds like the hawk might be mad at us. So, right down there would be the house. We're at 2850, so 500 vertical feet above. That is the building we walked through, and that is the bowl where we think the spring might be buried. And that is that slot in the canyon. And that is an excited 7-year-old boy.
Our friend is mad at us.
He definitely is. So, I wasn't able to dissuade the mountain climber from trying to make it up through that gap. But I just don't see us doing it. It's kind of weird. Somehow, it's a very loose slope. Not for him, but for me. It's a very, very loose slope. But somehow they got up here and raked all this down. I'm not sure, but you can see the dirt lines where they had pulled all the surface rock off. And I assume that was that gray rock that they were picking, you know, with the lichen and stuff on it. Man, yeah, they pulled all of it off down these avalanche chutes here. But it's, I'm pretty uncomfortable climbing it. I can feel too much of it move when I go up it. Way too much of it move. So it's not as bad for him as it was for me, but still. But yeah, they managed to pull it all down. I don't know how they did that. Is there like an anchor they set up there? And then some sort of blade they would winch up and pull down. I'm not sure how they did it. You know, you can see these runs. These aren't natural. Something came down through here, but no piece of equipment I know is going to be able to walk on this. This has got to be 60% or better. So, yeah, fascinating. Heck of a view up here. So that would be out towards Paradise, right? There's the house that you could see across the ravine from our place. If we get it, we'll be right down there. That's the gully we came through. That's the bowl we think the spring was. And now we've just hiked up to look down on all of it.
Ow, it's not very comfortable. Yeah, you're right, Daddy. It's not very comfortable.
Nearest to Matter, 3,000 feet. So, the top right up there, where that brush starts, is 3,000 feet.
There's a large tree spratling down there.
Yeah. And for the first time in our journey, we're confronted by the wind. We weren't confronted by the wind down below. The wind must crash into these hills and come barreling down here. I should have fought him when he said we should climb up higher, but I didn't. But we did find water. I'm sure it's just snowmelt water dripping down, but there's a small pool of it right over there. A lot of minerals in it, looks of the salt staining. And there's the river way down there. Almost 3,400 feet. So, yeah, depressingly little rise in elevation for, oh geez, the near hour of work it took. You can just make out down there that is the canyon we walked through on our way in. Man, this is steep. It's got to be 60 degrees. Hey, let's not do that, okay?
Look, I found red rot.
Cool. You ready for us to get down?
Yep.
It's gonna take a long time. It's a pretty cool run, huh? So, we're back down out of our big old slit there. We're moving down along the edge of this big rock face up onto what we're calling the flats up here on top. And the property boundary is going to be, I don't think we can see it quite yet. And you notice we have this huge man-made scree slope right there. But after our experience climbing this one, I think we're going to leave that one alone for another 1,000 years and let it, you know, flatten out. All right, Buster, let's keep moving. Well, Shay found that, and I found this thrown over there. But they didn't bother to fill it out, so what's the point? I don't know where the monument might be. Quite frankly, this isn't far enough over, as far as I know. But we must be getting somewhat close. Somewhat close. There's the slope we came down. So let's keep going, Buster. So we suspect this is the illegal part of the rock mine. My understanding is they mined on 40 acres of ground that wasn't theirs. And you can see where somebody's paddled this entire hillside down and picked all the gray rock, the stuff with the lichen and whatnot off the top. I'm standing on 15, 16 feet of floor right here. That's the tree, and we saw the sign, and Shay just called to me from down here saying that he had found another sign. This one will have some markers on it. Where'd you see it, Buster? There it is. Alright. So, there's the property boundary.
And then there's also a sign over there, so I want you to read it.
It says bearing tree. I want you to know it. You can't mess up this point right here. So, my guess is this is the end of the property right here. And so it just goes straight that way and straight that way up the hill. So when we were crawling up that ravine, which is right there, dang, we went really high. We were on the property. I wasn't sure if we were or weren't. We were on the property. But there's the monument. There's the marker right there. So we're going to head along the property line and look and see. We can see the good stuff, whatever it was they were up here for, and just keep our eye out for that spring. Now I suspect it's been buried under a lot of rock. We'll find out. Now we're calling this area through here the Ledges, as you can see, and the property line runs basically at the top of that knoll that Shay's standing on right there, and a little bit to the right of that dead tree stump, and then that's the monument. So we're on the property. This is a low spot that looks like it might be full of water. It is. It is full of water. Okay. So there's some moisture through here at least. All these ledges between it and that hillside, I'd be hesitant to say it was all just snow runoff, but I suppose it could be. But there's some water through there. That's that swampy pondy area. And they lay waste to the top of this hill. Something up here that they truly wanted. What's going wrong, Buster? We just got to go down the hill and we're back at the truck.
Wow, that was cool.
More of the ledges. You can see they did their darndest to break the top of that ledge apart. Not sure what for. I know next to nothing about rock yards. Why they do the things they do. That's the cut we went up. That tree right there is the first one we saw the flag. Property line boundary is right over there. I think we'll go down. How about you just wait right here, I'll go look and I'll come back. And I'll tell you the quickest way down. Deal?
Deal.
Okay. So the property line is going to be just on the other side of that exposed rock face going across and down the river.
Yeah. I think we can get down. Hey Shay, follow that road.
So we just came down this road, which is the upper of the two roads heading out on the bluff. And this is the canyon we came up from the middle. And that is the road into that hidden little glen. And if you look up there, that is the tree we had our snack under.
And it looks like there on would be maybe 2 feet. And then it hits a rocky ledge and then there would be...
Which at the time looked like it was nearly to the top. Clearly it's not. Oh, still a good adventure, huh, bud?
Yeah.
Nice.
We should climb that someday. And hopefully get to the top of that.
Someday.
Yep.